and welcome to our program Where God Weeps. Today we are going to talk about Mali, a landlocked country in Western Africa, where most people are Muslims and only about 2% are Catholics. But Mali is also a neighboring country to Algiers, and many African people from the south and the west try to seek their way to a better life in Europe through Algiers. And today we have a special guest, Father Didier Sawadogo from the Society of Missionaries of Africa, who knows of own experience what it is to be a migrant in Mali and also of inter-religious dialogue. Welcome and thank you for being with us, Father Didier.
Thank you.
Migrants, your parish in Gao, why are these people wanting to go to Europe?
I believe these people, they want to go to Europe because of their situation of life. We have in many countries in Africa a situation of war. So most of them, they are running from the situation of war, from Liberia, from Sierra Leone, from Central Africa. But many of them also are running from poverty. We have situation of poverty in many countries where it's a struggle even to get something to eat. And I think these people seeing on TV the images of Europe, they believe that going there they will have a better life.
Now you worked in the parish Gao, a very big city in Mali. Can you tell of your experience? Maybe you tried to convince your African people not to go to Europe.
Most of the people, when they arrive in Gao, we have a contact with them. And I have been especially involved in visiting all the ghettos where they are welcomed.
Can you explain shortly for us what a ghetto is?
What we call ghetto are places where they welcome all these migrants. There are people who organize themselves to have rooms and to have a system that helps them to cross the desert until Algeria.
So very important for us to know, a ghetto is not from the Catholic Church, but is of the own people.
Yes.
And the migrants who want to seek their way to Europe have to pay to get into the ghetto.
They have to pay to get into the ghetto, and once they are in the ghetto, the papers are confiscated so that they may not run away, and these people, they organize for them the trip. So they contact the drivers who will take them across the desert, and normally they are supposed to feed them because the money they paid is also for food, but in reality it's just a way of exploiting them, because some they can remain there until for 2 months, 3 months even, before they are able to cross the desert. And we find in some ghettos many young girls, for instance, who are exploited, and the men, they are not free, they are under the responsibility of those in charge of the ghetto. It's really a life of suffering.
But are you allowed as a Catholic priest to go into the ghetto, or are these people allowed to visit you in your parish?
They are allowed to visit us in the parish, especially to come for Mass, but they have to ask for permission. And the one in charge has to know the movements where they are going to. And when I go there to visit them, I have to go first to greet the one in charge, to ask for the permission to meet them. And I remember once I went there, I was passing and I saw some of them standing along the road opposite the house, and I stopped to chat with them, and the owner of the ghetto came and saw me, and he was mad because he can't believe how I can come and talk to his people without asking the permission. They know that what they are doing is not legal, and they are afraid of being discovered or being denounced, even though some of the authorities, they are aware of it. But they don't want people to be involved in it, because we can raise awareness of the people, and they will try to find the freedom from them. So they are a bit careful from visit from outside.
So what kind of stories do you then hear of the people in these ghettos?
Many stories, because they are really treated like people who have no dignity. They confiscate everything. And the problem is especially when they cross the Sahara Desert, when the drivers take them along. Because officially they take them to the border of Algeria or to the first town of Algeria, but very often they are attacked in the desert itself, quite often organized by the people who have taken them, or they are dropped in the desert by the drivers who will show them lights of Algeria in the night and drop them, and without food, without water, they will keep going around, and most of them, they die there.
So what happens when they see lights of Algiers? How far then is it then still for them to walk to the border of Algiers?
It's very far. In the night in the desert you see far, especially when you are on a dune. So from the dune you see lights, you will think that it's maybe 5 kilometers away, but in fact it's very far away. And in the desert there is no direction. You don't know which direction to take, and you can keep just going around, and you don't know in fact where to go.
Why do they take this road through the desert?
Nowadays it's very difficult to get a visa to Europe or to many other countries. And for them the cheapest solution, they believe it's the cheapest solution, it's to go through the desert. And some have tried and have been able to cross it and have reached Europe. And because of that, almost everybody believes that it's easy to pass through there. So we can go, even if we don't have the papers. So because of that, it's an attraction for many people, because Gao is quite far from the capital of Bamako. It's 1,200 kilometers from Bamako.
Where is Bamako?
Bamako is the capital of Mali, and it's a bit in the south of the country, southeast, west of the country. And it's towards the border with Senegal, even though because Mali is very wide, so it's...
But Gao is more important to get to the desert.
Gao is more important because Gao is the gateway. After Gao you have Kidal, and then you have Algeria. Because of the desert, we don't have many cities. From Gao, it's almost the only city between its Kidal. The others are small towns, and they cross. They don't even pass through the cities. They go. They have. We have traffickers who know very well the road, and they know where to pass without being seen by the authorities, the police, or the border guards. So it's quite easy for them, they believe, to cross through Gao. And it's an intersection because many people come from to Gao. People from East Africa, people from Central Africa, people from West Africa. And you can't believe that somebody will leave Central Africa and come to West Africa in order to cross the desert to go to Europe, while it's very easy to fly from Central Africa to Europe.
So in Gao you have a big parish, but a parish that changes all the time.
We have a very big parish. And I believe if it's not the biggest parish in the world, it's one of the biggest.
How come it is so big?
It's so big because in terms of Christianity, we don't have many people. And also it's because it's the desert. So it happened that it's quite a big parish that involves big cities, famous cities like Tombouctou, part of the parish also. And in terms of land, it's bigger than France and Belgium together. But in terms of Christians, it's very, very small parish.
If we now come back to the migrants again, you told the story of the migrants being in the ghettos, trying to get to the desert. Do sometimes some of them come back to Gao?
Most of them who are dropped in the desert, when they survive, they come back.
When they survive?
When they survive, because many also die. And those who are attacked also, they come back to Gao. And there are others who reach Morocco or Algeria and have been sent away by the Algerian authorities or from Morocco to the border of Gao, and then they come down to Gao. And when they come back to Gao, they cannot go anymore to the ghettos because you need to pay to be in the ghettos. So the only place until now where they go to, it's the parish. And for us, what we do is to welcome them first, because when they arrive, you see that after crossing this big desert, they are tired, sick, and we listen to them. And after listening to them, we try to care for the primary need, that is food, that is a question of health, and quite often help them to take contact with the family. Then for the food, we did not have enough money, so it's only for some few days we help them to eat.
And what do you hear? What kind of stories do you hear?
Stories of people, those arrested in Algeria being beaten by those who arrested them, taken into prison, put into lorries and dropped in the desert where they are nobody. And those who have been dropped by drivers in the desert, those who were beaten by those who attacked them. And it's stories of sadness, of suffering. And especially when we hear the experience of those who have been left, and those who survive, they come. But we hear of many others who did not survive. And I have met one who have come from that experience. They were 55. They were 55 to travel into lorries.
So 55 who left the ghetto in a big lorry to go to the desert?
To go to the desert. And they were dropped in the desert. And among them, only 5 reached Gao, of whom 3 died and 2 survived. And in fact, they were without water, without food, to the point that one became almost mad and was eating the flesh of his his companions. So this is a tragedy that many people don't hear, but a suffering of people who have longed for a better life, but ends like that. And such stories, we hear many of them. But we cannot convince also those who are trying to cross the desert by telling this story. Because even those who survive from that situation I just told about, they tried again to cross the same desert. So that means that within them there is something deep in them that really pushed them to cross the desert. And
so what in the end can you give them then, besides food and water, when they come back to Gao? If you cannot convince them to stay?
We have managed to convince some few ones to go back, but it's really a few number of them. But what we can offer them is only our friendship and our companionship. That even in that road, they are still human beings, and we respect them and we accept them as they are. But we accept their stories and we accept the project as it is. We cannot oblige them, we can only assist them and advise.
But that must be so difficult for you if you see these people first in the ghetto and then after several months you see them back and totally thin and nothing anymore.
Yeah, it's painful sometimes, many times, to welcome back these people, and sometimes it can be a reason for sleepless nights.
But how then can you continue doing this work if you see this suffering and almost not being able to help?
We cannot solve all the problems, but at least we have to try to accompany these people. And we have our desire of helping but we recognize also our powerlessness in front of the situation. But we entrust all this also to the Lord, because we believe that our action as human action are always incomplete until they meet the power of God, the love of God, who in fact is the one who protects them through this adventure. And in fact, quite often when they come to the church, whether they are Muslim, they are Catholics, or from other denominations, they ask for crosses and especially for rosaries.
Why rosaries?
They ask for the rosaries because they believe that Mary protects them. It's so strong that belief even among the Muslims that Mary protects, because I even heard that in Algeria at Notre Dame, even Muslims, they do go there and pray and ask Mary to help them, especially the women who cannot have children. They go to Mary and to pray, they pray. So these people also do believe that Mary is with them and protects them.
Now you mentioned yourselves the Muslims. Your work is not only the migrants, but also, if I'm right, the dialogue with your Muslim brothers. Yeah. How do you try to get in contact with your Muslim brothers?
Primarily, in fact, our work as missionaries in Gao is to be present, a Catholic presence in a Muslim area. And through our presence, we enter into contact with the Muslims, into dialogue with them. And we know that, but we quite often speak of dialogue, but the way we encounter them is an encounter of life, through daily relationship, but also trying to work together. That we are different, we don't believe in the same message of God, but we do believe that it's the same God to whom we all want to walk to. And because of that, we can together work. And for us,
what is then the work you do together?
And for us, the work we do together is first of all, the question of health. We have a dispensary where we welcome everybody, especially the Muslim, because I have said that we don't have many Christians. It's open to especially the poor people, and they come. The situation is that we are along the desert, and we are in a situation of poverty, extreme poverty, because there is no land to cultivate. Through the different drought, the animals were killed. So the people live really in poverty. And if you cannot have something to eat, it's also difficult to have medicine to treat yourself. So we open the dispensary so that we can help, welcome them and help them for the health reason. Another area where we work together is the school. We have a school where we welcome many children, and most of them are from Muslim families. And for us, the school is the area where children learn to live together from different faiths. They learn to appreciate each other, to love each other, and to grow up together. And
what then is your part in the school?
I personally, I was the chaplain of the school, and I have given some few times lessons of English, but it's mainly to accompany spiritually the school, the teachers and the students of the school.
And does that help, when it is a Catholic school, as I understand right, does it help the Muslims to better understand the Catholic faith?
Today, most of our leaders in Mali, they have gone through the Catholic schools. And the church is appreciated by the leaders, by many people who learn to know what is Christianity, what is the church in the school. And they don't know it through ESA or reading it, but because they have lived with Christians who have helped them also to grow intellectually and humanly, and because of that, they appreciate that today.
Does that mean that because these political leaders have been through your school, there is a better understanding between Muslims and Catholics?
There is a better understanding for those who have a kind of openness those who have a kind of knowledge of who we are. And I will say in Mali, in the south, there is no problem of relationship between Muslims and Christians. But sometimes in the north where we are, there is a problem of understanding, especially by people who have not been to school and who are in the desert, and for them, the Christians are, I will say, a threat.
Why are they a threat?
They are unbelievers.
Unbelievers, you mean in the face of the Muslims?
Well, in the faith of the Muslim. And for them, the one who does not believe in the faith is not a believer. We are considered not non-believers, even though the Quran said that we are believers because we are called the people of the book. I think the question of relationship is a question of misunderstanding, of people who did not open up themselves enough or to try to understand who we are and just stereotype us by what they hear and limit themselves to that. But through the work we do, the caritative work we do with them, and through the dispensary, through the school, we come into encounter with many of them who change their ideas. And in fact, through our presence and through the presence of many Catholics scattered around the area, they come to at least recognize that they are good people. And that is the witness we receive, that your people, they are really nice. But we don't know why they are not Muslims.
And does it help then does it help for the Catholics then, your work, that they are seen as believers, or are you always seen as unbelievers even though you work with them?
For many of with those we work, they recognize us as believers. And some, in fact, do tell us, but not on the roof, but they tell us privately that we really appreciate your faith and we know you have the truth. But this is not something they can just talk about like that. But when we gain the trust and the confidence, we really hear what they think about us.
But what does it mean then to be a Christian and in the eyes of the Muslims an unbeliever? Does it mean you're not allowed to sit with the Muslims, or what is the practice?
In the practice, for those who are in a way fundamentalist, those who really do not accept us, they do not accept even some of our people to eat with them or to drink from the same cup with them because they are unbelievers. And because of that, many of our Christians, they have given up their faith when they are there because they are afraid to be rejected. And that's why our work is going around throughout this vast parish to support them, to sustain their faith, and to tell them that they are not alone. We are here with them, and we support them, and God works with them and supports them. So that gives strength to many of them to continue and to witness. And many of them really, alone or as a family scattered, they really keep on to their faith and the witness to their faith, to the good news.
Have you yourself ever been able to drink tea, Arab tea, with your Muslim brothers? Or do they reject you as well?
No, myself, I have never had problems with them, except at the beginning, my first days in Gao, I had a problem of relationship, not from the people who lived in Gao itself, but for those coming from the desert to visit us. But apart from them, I had good contacts with them. And usually, we as priests, we have good contact with all of them. It's our Christians who suffer. They are those who have problems of relationship with the people.
Now, you yourself are not from Mali, but from the neighboring country, Burkina Faso. Is that also a difference, that you're not one of them?
No, that does not make a difference. And in fact, I think that helped me to be more integrated. Because for most of them, They found that I was from the neighboring country. I was one of them, so they accepted me. But the problem is, we have the Tuaregs who are a bit different from the other people.
Can you tell us who they are, the Tuaregs?
The Tuaregs are those we call the blue men of the desert, those who dress in blue with their...
Who are they? What kind of people are they?
We call them the people of the desert. They live in the desert. They are nomadic people. They live on breeding, cattle breeding, and they are mainly Muslims. In fact, there is no Christian there. And for them, they have been a bit of a difficult relationship with the rest of the country. In fact, there was the rebellion some years ago. Sometimes they have difficulties of accepting the black people, because in the old days, they have had many blacks as the slaves. So this has marked the relationship until now. The authorities are trying to do something for that. Even there is a kind of awareness coming up, but it's still difficult in some areas.
Thank you very much, Father Didier Sawadogo, for telling us about the problems of the migrants in Mali. And thank you for watching our program Where God Weeps. And if you want to know more about Mali, please log on to our website, which is posted at the end of our program. And we hope to see you again next week. Take care.